Hello to everybody. Thank you for joining me today. An important one today. You guys have all asked for the jowl and a reset for 2026. It was the number one requested area that you guys are seeing aging was the under eye and then the jowl. So I thought we should attack the jowl first. And what you all said is you just need a little lift like that. Just need a little pull up like that, right? And so we're going to get that today. And the jowl is one of those areas where it lends itself really to combination treatments. And comment in the comments here where you guys are all from. Let me know. We always have people from around the world. We have people from Europe, Asia, of course, the Caribbean, and Latin America. So let us know where you're from. But the jowl is our main focus today and what you're using. We got Texas in the house. Love to see it. Going to be down there soon. Arizona. Christine, great to see you. New Jersey. So I think where everyone gets confused on the jowl is that just by nature, and we are going to have a robust Q&A today, but just by nature, it lends itself to combination treatments. So people, we even have London in the house. Wonderful. London, Ontario, or UK? You guys know I went to school in London for a long time. But so it lends itself to combination treatments. And what happens is people get confused that, oh, is it filler? Is it a bit of radius, which is calcium? Is it Ultherapy? Is it Thermage? What about microcurrent? How does that fit in? What can you do at home? What can't you? And to what degree? I'm even going to show you guys some before and afters. Nebraska, good to see you. I'm even going to show you guys some before and after so you can know roughly what results you get. Everything from at home, I'm going to go through in clinics, going to go through Ultherapy, Thermage, what I learned in the UK, and something super special I wanted to talk to you about today that I learned in Korea that they've been doing for about a year now, almost, and that is priming the skin before, of course, in clinic. That's the number one, but we're now priming the skin before you're at home. And you're going to say, well, LED light can prime the skin before. Of course it can, but we can prime it now with skincare. And I'll talk to you about priming. Very important. And then we'll do a bunch of Q&A because I want to hear exactly your struggles with fillers and what can be dissolved and what can't and what not to do. So here is our run of show today. I'll put this slide up that will let you know what we're kind of an agenda for us. So first, I'm going to go through skincare. That's the low-hanging fruit, and what it will and won't do. We're going to go into devices. I'm going to talk a little bit about gua sha, microcurrent, RF. In clinic treatments, obviously, I'm over 25 years of doing this. You guys understand I've owned multiple RF microneedling devices. Ulthera. I had one of the first ones ever out of a trunk of a car when they were designing it. I've had a couple Thermages. And then injections. And I've done, as far as I can, there's over 200 fillers in Europe. But in terms of all the FDA approved fillers around the world, I've used every type and style in great quantities, including PMMA, which is Bellafill. And then I'm going to go through a little live demo with you of at home what I use. Also, there'll be a special on the device. I'll let you know for those interested. But more importantly, I want to educate you and do a demo to talk about it and compare it to what are we there where we can get results at home with what we do in clinic. And I think you're going to be shocked. And then, of course, a live Q&A. And the reason, of course, we do the Q&A is that's real world. This is what I do. And each of you have specific problems. Okay. So keep the comments coming because we're going to monitor them and ask the top questions. And at the end, I'll stay as long as we need. I am doing a big webinar tonight for those of you who are providers. I'll be on with Amy Lynn, and we're talking about the baby face and a big baby face package that's coming out to clinics with PDO threads, PRF. It's a whole package. That starts at 5 o'clock West Coast time, LA time. So I'll have to hop off for that. But let's dive into this. So skincare is the low-hanging fruit. It's what you all want to do. It's all what you all want to use. And I saw many of you asking about turkey neck. We're going to cover that too. Skincare can do so much. And I'm not going to go and bore you with prevention because we know sun damage, excess sun. I love sun. You need vitamin D. I just got my levels tested and I was traveling for a couple of months. And of course, I wasn't on my K2D3 as I should be. My vitamin D was low. We don't want that. I don't want your vitamin D low. Sun is good. Excess causes sun damage. So, and maybe you're getting your vitamin D through the sun more on your body than on your face. So your body can take a little more sun than your face in terms of aging. So vitamin D, sun, important. But when we go to skincare, it's kind of your bread and butter. So retinols are going to be your number one because they thicken the dermis and they tighten the skin. And you don't have to go crazy with retinols. You can use them a few times a week. In mine, and you all have a retinol you like. Some of you are on retinoic acid, which is powerful. If you're not getting inflammation, that's great. That's the prescription one. In mine, I like to use my key feature, look in yours. Retinaldehyde is what I love. Okay, so retinaldehyde is my number one ingredient. In mine, I also put retinol palmitate, which is very weak one, but I like to have it in there. And then I put retinol itself. So there's 3 different types. Now here's the key. You need vitamin C for collagen to build. If you're using the new THD ascorbate formulations like mine, I put vitamin C in there. If you're not, add vitamin C somewhere in your routine, preferably THD ascorbate. And then the next one of the most powerful is going to be your AHA, alpha hydroxy acids. Often the AHA creams are going to have a BHA, a beta hydroxy acid in there, which is more fat soluble for your pores. But we're interested, as long as you have an AHA, alpha hydroxy acid, usually they're mixes, then you're going to get tightening out of that combination. So that's skincare. I'm going to go into much more skincare if you have it in the Q&A, but those are your 2 staples. You might want me to make it complicated, but it's not for the jowl. And part of the reason is if you have already a sagging jowl and it's deep, then you need to go to next level. What is the next level? Well, if we go back, it's our home devices. So before you go to any clinic, you want to have your skincare sorted out. You want to have your prevention. The next is home devices. I'll tell you the simplest, most inexpensive one. You guys know I just spent a long time Southeast Asia. The simplest one that we see over there is gua sha. It's used everywhere because you can buy a gua sha stone for like a couple bucks. Here in North America, $20 or so. And then, of course, I developed a free course. But keep in mind, you see the points here? And I've taken courses over there in Asia, but traditional gua sha Asian style. It was invented in China. Not for lymphatic flow, which many of you think. But if you're in China and you're doing gua sha, no, it's for ligamentous release and relaxation of the muscles. But lymphatic flow and improving lymphatic flow is where we get our immediate results. And that's why you love the lymphatic flow aspect of it. But a gua sha, I mean, I do it every morning just because, you wake up, you're a little bloated. Things are sagging. When you get older, you wake up, things are sagging. And so I wake up and I literally just use my gua sha tool to sculpt, right? And to move, get lymphatics going. But what do I think we're doing is I think we're making the fat pads healthy. Of course, I know we're increasing blood flow to the area, and that helps. We know that works. Obviously, I have vibration in here, and I need to dedicate a complete section, a complete video for you guys on how to use this section and the vibration for bone stimulation. And I want to show some studies so it's not hokey. There's good data on bone and vibration. Are you guys, comment here, if you're using one of those vibration plates where you stand on it, it jiggles you. I was in a hotel the other day and the gym had 5 of them. So that vibration plate, I'm actually a big fan. Obviously, I don't sell vibration plates. I'm not affiliated with any company, but I've used them probably in the like 2007 when we were doing a lot of the lipo dissolve for fat reduction and cellulite. And a lot of my patients used the vibration plates back then for cellulite, and they worked. But now there's more and more data coming for bone, your spine, your hip. and those vibration plates, I'm a big fan. I'd like to make one. Here's the deal. I don't think I can really make them better than what's out there, and I don't pursue those things where I can't improve. But I'm a fan of vibration plates. I see in the comments, love mine. Yes, have had mine for years. No, but you want one. Yeah, I think I mean, maybe I'll bring one in. I haven't done a deep dive into them. Maybe add red light into the plate. Whatever it is, I like them. And so when this is part of priming too, but when you take a gua sha stone and you add red light, so I've added in here 2 wavelengths. You guys know I like 630 and 830, nothing above 900. And then you're supercharging your mitochondria, right? And just sculpting and for your jowl, you'll see an instant effect in the morning when you wake up, and you just feel better, you look better. But when I'm in Vegas and I'm lecturing and it's dry and been up all day and night, and you got to go to dinner, and you maybe got home at 5, you got to dinner at 7, I sleep for an hour, I get up, I shower again, and then you gua sha before going out, you look better. It's just, you get that instant effect, and there's long-term benefit. I don't want to go on too much about it, but it deserves mention to the point where I made a free course online. So if you like free, store.rajanamd.com, go to education, just take the free course. You don't have to buy anything from me. There's other courses in there. Learn about it. And you can buy an inexpensive stone. If you don't want the next level like mine, you can start with a $20 stone you get online. Just be careful what you buy. And go for stone and or metal. Stainless steel would be your best. Okay, so that's gua sha. Microcurrent, what I want to say about that, it's not as, the results with RF are much deeper, stronger than you're going to get with a microcurrent. And I do like microcurrents. I have one in my Prime machine. I have a Viora Prime using for patients, and that has microcurrent in it. I've been using microcurrent for 20 years. I do like it. If you're using it, getting great results, fine. If you're wondering and you actually have a jowl, because that's what we're talking about today, you're going to get better results with RF and deeper results with a home RF that we're going to go through later. It's just going to be more powerful. So if I was deciding, it's a no-brainer. Between, I had limited money, I'm getting a galvanic or I'm getting an RF device at home, go for RF. And then radio frequency. So radio frequency is time tested. You used it for a long time. There's all kinds of older devices on the market. There's newer ones in clinics. Some of them have 15-year-old devices that are pretty darn good. And then there are ones that are brand new. There's monopolar and bipolar. And I'm going to go through that when we talk about Thermage. But this is the head of an at-home device. And you can see there's 3 different depths, okay, for this. So what radio frequency does, the electricity jumps from here to the far one, the middle one to the middle one, the close one to the close one. Why? Because you want to get superficial, medium, and deep. Some of the devices in clinic that I've used and have, one in the office, I can switch level 1, 2, 3, and I can go only superficial, only medium, only deep. The new technology, you can get them all 3 at once. So you can see all the different variations. Why do I mention that? And I'll demo this later on for you guys, but I mention that because we're going now to in-clinic devices. Okay, here's a visualization of this. By the way, this device that I'm going to show you today comes from EndyMed, and their in-clinic device has the same head as this on it, and you're getting this at home. So you look up EndyMed 3D. If you're going to your clinic, it's about $500 to $600 per treatment. Why I like at home is you can use this. This device is almost 3 years old, this device here. And we have this exact color today that I'm going to give you the offer on that. We got a great special on it. But this is 3 years old, and they almost never fail. Who fails is the people, because it does take a little bit of doing. It's very easy, but it takes a little dexterity at first. Understand, we have in-clinic devices. So let's go to that now. And I'm going to show you some before and afters, because it's key, because it's $3 to $5 grand to get an in-clinic treatment with one of these. And I like them, but I want you to have good expectations. And again, I've owned all of these in-clinic devices that I'm talking about today. So if you look at this device, this example here, this is Ulthera, right? Now, why it's important. Yeah, in the questions you're asking, this is a Newa device. I'll go through it in more detail in a minute. Okay, this is absolutely important to understand. Understand, I've done 20 years of doing these in-clinic devices, particularly owned a couple Thermages. So I'm not just an influencer telling you something. This is what I've done. And it's $3,000 to $5,000. And back in the day, so 2008, a Thermage treatment face and neck, I charged $5,000. Today, they're about $5,000. You'll find it on a deal for $3,500. But here's the thing. If you see this picture and you're going to go into a clinic and get one, and you're like, that's not worth $5,000 to me, just don't go, because this is the best case scenario. This is Thermage. Thermage is monopolar RF. That means you see how the electrodes I showed you go from one, they hop from one to the next here? That means the electricity goes from the Thermage tip to a area on your back where you put a patch. Okay, and here is Thermage result here. So this, again, if you look at this and you go, hey, this isn't worth it to me for $5,000, then you might be disappointed, because this is best case scenario. And I would say it's pretty good. Now, you're going to have to wait 180 days to get a result like this. So you have to have patience, and you have to have great photography, and understand this person will look better dynamically. So when she smiles, when she articulates, when she talks, she'll look better than just a static before and after. So am I a fan of the procedures? If you've got $3,000 to $5,000 and this looks good to you, and you'll repeat this every year to year and a half, okay, then it's worth it to get it done. Yes. For a lot of people, for a few $100, you get an at-home device. They rather go that way first. I agree with that. And so understand Thermage and Ulthera. There is a new Ulthera out. I've looked at it. It is, it's a little bit of an upgrade, but the old Ulthera is just fine. Same with Thermage. They have new ones coming out all the time. But there's no huge technological difference, you guys, between these devices. The technology that exists in 2011, 12, 13 is pretty darn good. Now, when I'm in Korea, you're going to say, okay, well, the Koreans love it and they get great results, better than the US. Ulthera Thermage is over there, but yes, they have other ones that are, I don't want to even say knockoffs, because they're good brands. But when you take Thermage and Ulthera, there's a tip, a consumable tip. So they're going to charge the clinic about $800, $900 per patient. The device is $100,000. Clinic has to recoup that. So they're paying for this, what we call a consumable. With your at home like that, there's no consumable, obviously, except like a gel. So that's why you're paying that kind of money. But in Korea, the treatments we were doing, and I spent a long time just recently over there, multiple clinics, what are they doing? Stacking a monopolar RF like Thermage, followed by a high few like Ulthera or Ulthera itself, RF microneedling same time, and then your injections. So, and then you're getting salmon sperm facial or exosomes, not both. And then you're getting a Korean sheet mask, and then you go home, and it takes 2 hours. Very efficient. Not a lot of sedation used. These can be painful. So understand, yeah, that's why they're getting the results. Here, that would cost 8 to 10 grand to get a Thermage and Ulthera, and then your injections like that, and then you're home. So it's a different world. And so you can't compare, but I wanted you to see those before and afters. Okay, let's move on here. Injectables, we go into injectables. Okay, this is important because, when you're going to add, let's say you have a hanging jowl, okay, and I've had injections along the jawline. And so I didn't have a hanging jowl, but when I see a little one, I want to do it early. The earlier you do it, the better. Why? What I did 5 years ago is still working in there, okay? If you do it right, on the right level, with the right products, I don't need to repeat that. I mean, I think the last injections I would have had along here, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. But yes, you can do your device at home or your in-clinic device on top of those. It's not going to melt the fillers. Fillers, I've been to the filler factories. You guys know I've been to all these factories. Fillers don't dissolve until 120, 130 degrees Celsius. These things go to 42. An in-clinic RF microneedling where we get rid of fat goes to 67, 68 Celsius. So it's a fire at 100 to 130 degrees Celsius where fillers melt. So you're not melting fillers. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to have a little electro-glow drink here, you guys. Mango. I love it. Okay. And so when we talk about injectables, let's first talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of you might have a little fat underneath here. And I was one of the first trainers in the world for what was called Kybella Pharmaceuticals, which owned Kybella and sold it to Allergan. So I wanted to show you some Kybella stuff because you can get generic Kybella, which is called PCDC. It's phosphatidylcholine and deoxycholate combination. Some clinics will only use deoxycholate. Kybella is only deoxycholate. In my opinion, and I learned in France with the best of them, mesotherapy, you want to have deoxycholate and phosphatidylcholine. They're synergistic. Deoxycholate is the main driver, but I like the combination, PCDC. I started injecting that in 2003-4. Kybella came, boy, I got to remember this stuff now, 2012, 13 maybe, Kybella. But anyway, like I said, I was one of the first trainers for that, and that was Kybella Pharmaceuticals. Stock went nicely up. That was a good thing for us. But that's Kybella. So let's show you. I want to talk about that because it's a fat dissolving. And contrary to what you think, I've obviously done thousands of these. Comment, anyone my genre, are you as old as me in the comments? You'll remember something called LipoDissolve. Do you guys remember LipoDissolve? It was overused. It was a bunch injected all over the face to get rid of, or all over the body to get rid of fat. We also used it in combination cocktails for cellulite. But LipoDissolve, a lot of people did too much. They got scars, and some people got open wounds. I remember having a Russian gal, and her sister said, you got to ice it, you got to ice it. She kept ice on there for 24 hours and burnt herself with ice. It was all over the world. So yeah, if you don't remember, it was called, you can look this up. It was called LipoDissolve. People made their own names for it. Let me show you a couple pictures because a lot of people don't buy into Kybella and those injections. Whether you use a generic or Kybella, it doesn't matter to me. Your clinic will use what they use. This is a real patient. When you get into, some pictures can look fake, but when you use 3D imaging, it gives you a cartoon-like look. But this is mainly for contours. This is a real patient, real results. Understanding the approval trials, and I was involved in those. Most of the patients got 4.5 treatments, meaning the average. So up to 6 treatments, 6 sessions. Gets expensive. But look at the submentum here, the submentum fat right underneath the jawline and chin. That was done with injections. This is only Kybella, no fillers or anything. Does it play a role? I believe injections, fat dissolving injections, excuse me, it plays a role. They work. You get skin tightening. You look like a frog for a few days. But we studied this back then. Independent people looking at people at day 5 or 6 after the injection couldn't tell that there was swelling. But the person who got the injections, of course, were more self-conscious. The people who got the injections saw the swelling for 2 weeks. And I had patients call me freaking out, of course. Oh my gosh, it's Christmas. I don't look as good. No one else could notice it, but they look like bullfrogs a little bit. So just know there are fat dissolvers. There's that lemon one you have in Europe. Some of them I wouldn't do. And here's a male, but this is a pretty amazing result. Again, no fillers, no nothing. I'm not trying to sell you on Kybella or PCDC. I want you to know this exists. And for your Europeans out there, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So people are commenting there's providers who I trained in Arizona. Yes, you'll see a lot of providers I trained over the years. I'm going to talk about vertical neck bands coming up too on a video I just did about face shape changing. So you're asking about bands, but let's talk about that with the turkey neck. So here you see 6 treatments for this person. But look at the result. They didn't have to have surgery. It's all injections. You can walk out. It actually takes you guys 5 or 6 minutes to do the treatment, especially after you've had the first one. Let's go. Do we have one more picture of it or not really? Okay. So that's Kybella. Just be aware of it. That's all I want you to know. They're good. You're going to hear a lot of people talk negative about it. But again, it can be good. It depends what your provider's charging. So that's injections. Let me talk to you about fillers. Okay. So I inject and I was involved. I've been on ad boards for all these companies. Okay. I was involved in the launch of Radius 2007. Radius is calcium hydroxylapatite, and I have a little bit back here, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. Okay. I really like, if you want the strongest, sharpest jawline, and especially if you have a pretty good jawline, not a lot of submental fat, Radius is going to be your number. And none of this is sponsored, you guys. I've taken no money from any company at all for any of this. But if you want the sharpest jawline ever, you go with Radius because it's calcium hydroxylapatite, 30% in the syringe, carboxymethylcellulose, which is a carrier. You'll find that in your shampoos and toothpaste, carboxymethylcellulose, CMP. But 30% of the syringe is calcium. It's hard. So if you want the sharpest jawline ever and you have a great injector, Radius is going to give you and finish off that beautiful jawline. So a great combination could be little Kybella, Ultherapy, Thermage, and then Radius here. And it can beat surgery. There's no question. Surgery, you got to go through a lot, right? And surgery is great for some people, especially the big turkey neck. Surgery is the best way to treat a big turkey neck. However, for someone like myself, I don't want surgery yet, but I could get a jawline with these kind of treatments, and many of you are in that category. When I do the Q&A, you can. Oh, we should do this where you guys can send your pictures into me. That would be fun. Comment if you'd like that. We work that out, but I'll go through your specifics in the Q&A. So understand Radius is good. You cannot dissolve it. What do we do? Here's your pre-jowl here. I come in anterior to here, give a little chin projection, inject underneath here to bring that forward. It always looks good. This tilt on a woman, a sideways tilt on a woman looks good. Okay, so I don't want the face tilting this way or that way. I want the face tilting this way. So if you look at the profile of attractive females, typically the fronto-mental angle, fronto-mental, mental means chin, angle should be like that. So when I'm creating shape, I'm bringing the chin forward, allowing the forehead to sit back, and the nose, of course, going to be an important point, and then the lip projection. That's a whole nother video we can do on facial shape. But obviously in my line of work, I better create the best shape. So understand Radius is good. Now, if you want to dissolve it, and I hate to throw out a number, but probably 80% of the injectors out there are not the most experienced you're going to find, because there's a med spa in every corner. Everyone thinks they're a master after injecting 5 people. You got to do 500. So you might want a dissolvable product. Pick something robust. You don't want to draw a lot of water in. Things like if you're on the Restylane line of fillers, even Restylane L, not bad. Restylane Contour, not bad. That's a good one. And Lift, Lyft. I think Lift is a real nice one. Doesn't draw a lot of water in. High G prime. That's what you're looking for. Okay. Volux is another one if you're in the Allergan line. So there's a lot of fillers you can use, but you don't want a soft one. You want the sharpest you can get the most strength. You need to see an expert. Your facial artery comes right here on the bone. You don't want to occlude that. You got your facial nerve. You're not that deep. Don't have to worry about nerves unless you really got a bad injector. But let me talk about Sculptor quick, because Sculptor is actually FDA approved to tighten the jawline. Why? Because it tightens skin. It's not approved to inject at the jawline. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It means that your injector might not be trained in it. They can't talk about it. They can do it. They can't be taught by the company who makes Sculptra. But of course, you can do anything you want in your own clinic. But we know when we inject the preauricular or this area that we get lifting of the jawline, and that's studied in 3D image. Yeah, Bindi Boxer, I would never do fillers. No problem. So you don't have to. And that's why we do at home. I mean, you probably love at home devices if you don't want to do fillers. But it's not for everyone. Just like surgery, it's not for everyone. Okay, so that's your fillers. You can ask me more in the Q&A. Flash fillers, what's not going to work? Something like flash fillers. Those are non-cross-linked hyaluronic acid. You might know them as skin boosters. Vogue magazine calls them flash fillers. I have videos on all of this, by the way. Everything I talked about, search Rajani Ulthera, Rajani Thermage, Rajani flash fillers, Rajani Jawline, and you can watch specific videos on all of this. So skin boosting, it makes your skin better. salmon sperm facials, PDRN, exosome injections, not going to tighten your jawline. It's more for skin. It's not contour or shaping. So don't get sold into that. Okay, let's move on to when will the raspberry drink be available? It's a great question. We're working on it. The supply chain is hard. And I have 2 other flavors right now. I'm drinking the mango, but the raspberry, yeah, I'm waiting for it too. It's still my favorite. But who can beat mango? Mango. I mean, I love mangoes. In Asia, I had the Alfonso mangoes. I think they were called the yellow ones. Oh my gosh, amazing treat. Okay, what kind of results can you expect from an at-home device? Let's talk about that priming, because I want to let you guys understand priming, because I learned this in Korea. Maybe we did it here a little in North America, didn't know. Priming refers to setting up your skin to be ready for your treatment and supercharge it. So you're going to say, okay, a red light mask, okay, or red light. This is a very inexpensive way to get red light is through a gua sha, right? That's priming you for your RF. So I always say gua sha first and then do your RF at home. But what are they doing for priming? Particularly the RF microneedling is they're using like the Exobomb cream that we talked about last week. This is an exosome cream. You mix up your exosomes into the cream. They're fresh. These are lyophilized, active, proven. They would use this for about 2 weeks is what they're going to prime. They'll give you something like this, like 2 weeks before your RF microneedling, 2 weeks before your Ultherapy, before your Thermage. Use exosome cream. And then afterwards, for the 2 weeks after your treatment, you're going to use your exosome cream. And that's going to help supercharge and get your results. It works. I've seen it. So what do we do? Part of the reason I launched this last week is so that you can prime your at-home treatment. So imagine that you prime your skin for a day or two, you use your LED mask, and then you use your Newa. Yeah, there's the Exobomb cream there. And it's rose stem cell exosomes. If you missed the video from last week, I interviewed the PhD scientist who made it from the company, and I take it through a little bit of a factory tour, because I've been to the factory of Exego Bio, or particularly these exosome creams. But that's what priming is. So you see what we're learning here. It's absolutely phenomenal. And of course, wound healing, which I'm not going to get into because we talked for another half hour. I want to get into the jowls. That's going to arm you for the jowls. So let's keep going here with the RF, because there's a couple more before and afters. I want to show you what you might get with expectations, because life and treatments are all about expectations. But here's a before and after. This is new. I believe this one's 4 weeks. Don't quote me. It's either 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. But if you look at the pre-jowl, let's go back. Yeah, if you look at the pre-jowl here, it's reduced. If you look at the band, you asked me about the band. I really just did a video today on face shape that I think it'll be up next Sunday. I want you to watch that, because I show a celebrity who's all worried about the band. And we go through it in that video. But you can Botox it if you want, but you can tighten it here. You can see it tightened up. It's not going to be gone in 3, 4, 5 weeks. But also the jowl. Now imagine that was after 4 weeks. Imagine you prime it with your exosome cream. Imagine if you continued for another month, or if you got frustrated here and you added a tiny bit of filler. You can see you're going to need much less filler or other treatment now than you would have if you didn't use the device at all. So that's kind of the idea. Let's go to another before and after, because expectations are key. This is another night. Here's 8 weeks. So 2 months after using the device, 3 to 4 times a week. And you see, this is a nice submentum and jowl improvement. By jowl, it's not just a hanging jowl, but it's that melomental fold where the kind of the edge of the mouth gets a little excess tissue, right? Because of the descent of your fat pad. So this is using the Newa. And I mean, if you can do this at home, I showed you the results with Thermage and Ulthera. Check out this result with something you do at home, of which it's a few $100. It's not $4,000. And you can use it as much as you want. Like I said, this is 3 years old. So they hold up. And then, of course, you can use it all over the face. Okay, so the eyes, the crow's feet. Someone just commented that they didn't ever want to do fillers or Botox, that's great. Then this electrical energy is about the most natural next way you can get it. And here's another result. This is a 38-year-old. Okay, you can see for 38, she looks a little older, but we're aging quicker because of our food, our diet, sun exposure, the pollutants we're exposed to, and lifestyle. Okay, and the phone. People aren't playing sports; they're looking down at their phone. And just to say, there are studies on Newa. If you want to read the studies, you want me to go through them in a video, I can take you through the studies. But there are studies using Newa. This is a study device using 3D imaging. Good. Now let's move through. So now we're going to do a live demo. These can always go south. I don't know, but I just wanted to show you. Now, this is the one we have on sale. If you guys want today, I never like to do just a video without giving you an option to buy things, and give you some value of what you can get. And let's put up the sale of this before I go on and show you the demo, just so you have an idea what this would cost. So, and it's only the purple one that I have that I can do. The amounts that are probably going to sell. I hate running out of things. You guys have an appetite for purchasing, and I run out of things. So inventory control is tough, but you get 35% off. And it was $439, so you save $154, and only this color, which is actually the color. There wasn't a lot of colors 3 years ago, and this is the color I got. So I'm not, it's not very manly, but hey, I don't care. It works. So I use it. But 3 years running. And like I said, a lot of people at the beginning, you got to be patient. But when people return these and say they don't work, I'm just factually going to give you the percentage that don't work, and it's less than 0.5%. So if at 100 devices returned, there's less than a third of them that are defective. It's the person that's defective in terms of doing them. Why? Because you got to turn it on. I like the portable one for me because I travel and everything, but you turn it on level 1 and 2, and that's the side button right here. Now, you see that's blue on here? Well, there's one more step. So even though the device is on, you now have to click it till it flashes. Now you're ready to go. Nothing happens here. This is why it's advanced. Nothing happens here. There's no electricity moving until it touches your face. So you take a little of the gel, and you put the gel on top like this. Okay. I use about that amount. Okay. Some people need a little more because their skin's not that hydrated. I'm not hydrated today, so we'll see. And depending on the ambient temperature, I'll be either warmer or cooler. So if my skin is cooler because of the ambient temperature, I'll need a little more time to warm it up. I got the gel on here, and a lot of times I'm just only treating the jowl area because it's my number one concern with it. It's already hot. I'm already feeling it. And this light, let's see if it turned. It's blue still, but it'll turn green when it starts to get near the shut-off temperature. But I don't care if it's green or not because it's hot. I can feel it. And I'm kind of gua shaing it, circular and up. Circular and up. Let's see what color it is because that's pretty hot. It's still blue. That will turn green. And people perseverate. Mine didn't turn green. You don't need it green. It's already that hot. And circular and up. Circular and up. If you're getting wrinkles around the edge of the mouth, you can treat there. Okay, but you can treat less. Okay, so you can just treat there and spend most of your time here, but you have to go back like that. Now, when I stop, it stops giving heat. That's why people return these. They're like, oh, it doesn't heat up. No, you have to move it. That's the technology that's built in. It's amazing. So when you have technology, you're going to have to see it turn green. Yep, it was turning green. So it's that quick. So these all work. There's green there, and it's hot. It's hot, not bad, but so if you take it off the skin, it won't function. It'll go back to blue. Okay, it was green, now it's blue. You see that technology, that built-in safety. I don't know of another. And I'm in Asia. I was in all the Medicube, all those stores. I didn't see anything with the built-in safety of this. Otherwise, I'd have it. Now, here's the key with the jowls. I just sit there and I literally only do this for 4 minutes, a few times a week. You do because I don't treat most of the other face mostly, but you got to come down and do it in the submentum, and you'll see a tightening effect right away. We call that the I was going to say Goldilocks, not the Goldilocks, it's Cinderella effect. Okay, you'll see a tightening right away because the tissue is contracting, and you can see it's green, but you got to keep it circular. I'm a pro, you guys, because I've been doing this for so long, right? And so maybe I make it look easy, but it can take a little bit to get used to it. Don't send these things back. Almost none of them are defective when we get them and test them. See green? It actually feels great. That's why I keep doing it, because it feels really nice. And so you're sculpting in through here and you're sculpting here. Now, I'm going to put the questions up for a minute. Let me see here for a minute. Let's try this for a second. Let's see. I don't want to mess anything up here. Maybe I won't, because I might mess it up. But I can. Sometimes we can put the questions up. I'll read them to you. But I want to know: do you have questions? I wanted to learn that, but okay. I'll read your questions out and then answer it. But do you have questions on the technique before we go on to your other questions, or on the device that I can answer? What technology is it? This is Newa RF, made by EndyMed, which makes in-clinic devices. Not down the center of the neck, I would think. Look, here's the thing. I've been doing RF for over 25 years. And the nice thing about me is I've had my patients over 25 years, their daughters, their moms, okay? Generations of patients that data and studies can't give you. But I do. I do treat the thyroid. Never had a problem. And yes, you can go down the center. Your thyroid's here. So if you don't want the thyroid, you get two options. One is don't treat over the thyroid, or B is you move your skin. The looser your skin, the easier this is. You move the skin over and treat away from the thyroid, because as you move the skin, the thyroid won't come with it. That's the trick we do in clinic. Move the skin over and treat it over here if you want the center. So yeah, Marie, you missed the live. We'll try and have this up after. You can watch the whole thing. So should you use it after facelift? Let's have this important conversation. I just uploaded a video where I did a podcast with Beverly Hills Facial, triple board certified plastic surgeon, and we talked about everything facelifts after sculptor, PRF. I just finished putting it together. I'll have that for you in the next week or two. I want you to watch that with him. We banter back and forth about stuff. It's good. Yorkshire, England. Hello. Do we do circular movement, sweeping across the skin? Yes. Just like I did, circular and moving. Do you think the temperature could be intolerable for people? Never seen it. And you can use low and high setting. You see, there's low and high settings. You just don't go to high. But I wanted to get back to that question about what was facelift. Okay, great. Understand. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but a facelift, often you make a little cut up here. You lift the brow a little bit, right? You make a cut through the ear, hide the incision here, and you make the cut back here, and you lift it up. You go down, you cut through the smaz here, and you do a smaz facelift through here. So it's more vertical rather than pulled look, right? Because if you pull, now I look weird, right? Don't move right. If you pull vertically, it doesn't affect how I look, right? So that's a vertical deep plane facelift. Deep plane facelift's been done for a long time. It's not new. But here's the thing. When you get a facelift, you cut the skin out, you lift it up, you lift it vertically, remove the skin. The modern facelift removes less and less skin, and it reopposes. Okay? That's going to be your most natural facelift. A facelift removes the skin. It tightens the ligaments. It does not make your dermis thicker. It doesn't do one thing for brown spots unless you do a CO2 with it. That's why most people get a CO2 or a laser resurfacing with it, or a deep chemical peel, or a phenol peel. So do you use this after facelift? 100%. And you use it before. You prime the skin. As well as before a facelift, you want your nutrition, your hyperbaric oxygen, and everything else. Why? You need wound healing. You guys don't hear about all the side effects from facelift, from nerve damage to hematomas. It's a big surgery. And why do you see the before and afters at 4 days and at 2 weeks and 3 weeks? Because the swelling makes the facelift look great. It's the filter. Look at someone at 6 months, a year, and 2 years, and I can tell you the disappointment rate's often 20 to 30%. Pull too tight, didn't pull enough. So to think you get a facelift and then you do nothing else, it's erroneous. And nowhere else in the world thinks like that except in America. I'll just get a facelift. Doesn't work like that. You need your skincare. You need your at-home devices. You do your gua sha, because you never want a second facelift, because what produces the most scar tissue in the world that we do in the face, it's not Sculptra. It's a facelift. And if anyone who does submentum liposuction or lower face and neck lift, you're using the scar tissue to tighten up the submentum. That's how it tightens. It's partially how it tightens. So when you get a facelift, the second one's harder. The first one's going to last you 6 to 10 years. The second one's only lasting you 4 to 5 years. So what are you going to do? Do one every 5 years? You need home devices. You need a home routine to make it all better. Okay, now let me go to some of your questions. Do you think the temperature could be intolerable? We did that one. Circular movements. I should have waited to purchase Newa. Okay, great. 285 is a good deal. Yeah, 285 is a great deal. EMS better than your device for RF. Okay, this is great. Electromuscle stimulation. So I'm working on with a company now. We're looking at devices. We're looking at results with EMS. So far, I'm a fan. The problem is the devices on the market now need improvement. So stay tuned on that. But I do like EMS, and I don't know what EMS you're talking about. But here's the thing: you have 3 main muscles that I'll talk about for EMS. So check yours. But there's a zygomaticus minor, zygomaticus major, and your masseter that EMS focuses on. Zygomaticus major and minor are what we want to work. EMS, for those who don't know, muscle stimulation, like a mini. You guys probably know the EMS devices that like M-Sculpt that use for your abs and your body. They make your muscles twitch. Easiest way to say it. But you want to strengthen only the lifting muscles. So you want to strengthen your zygomaticus minor and major. And for a lot of people, the masseter. And I know you all want to Botox your masseter, but you're going to lose volume and you're going to create your jowl, because we're talking about jowls today, right? So how often do you use Newa? Here's the beauty of this. I might not use it for 2 weeks. And then I'm working on my desk a little more. I keep it next to my desk, and I might use it 5 and 6 days in a row. But in general, 3 times a week, I honestly, to be frank, use it for 4 minutes at a time. If you're doing a full face, it'll take you 12 minutes. It's worth the time and effort in your skincare routine. There's only so much time in the day. What do I think? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's put this one up. Here's the question. What do you think about masseter Botox for teeth grinding? Will it increase my jowls? I'm 55 years old. So I love the question, because 55, I don't care if you're 105 or you're 15, 25. Age has nothing to do with it. Everyone asks me, I'm this age, I'm that age, and I appreciate your question. I'm not being negative on your question. I think everyone thinks that. And it does give me a reference point. You're correct. But in general, I need to look at your facial structure and how tight your skin is. Okay. Stacy Jean, thank you. Great. So let's say you have a wide mass. It's for teeth grinding. And first of all, your teeth are more important than your face overall. My friend used to tell me, he studied history. He said, humans, maybe in the Neanderthal days or many thousands of years ago, he said people died because they lost their teeth. When you can't eat, that's a problem, right? So teeth come first. Aesthetics next. It's nice to do them both. But yes, if you have lax skin, you might not want to do masseter Botox, because it will cause a bit of drooping here, because you're just losing volume effect. But here's 2 things you can do. Prime. So you prime it with the exosome cream, and you do your Newa for maybe 4 to 8 weeks before you get your Botox. You tighten up your skin. Then you bring the masseter down. Here's what you can do. Should you get too much laxity because you lose volume, because you toxin your masseter? Simple. You're now going to add filler. You can do Sculptra, you can do PRF, you can do HA filler, or you can do Radius. So there is a solution should that happen. But yes, that could be a problem. Yeah. Do you have another question you want to put up there? Do you want to put a question up through here? How do you okay, great. The question there, do you use an oil or serum with Newa? Great question, because here's the Newa gel, and I use the Newa. See if I can get that in focus. I don't know. Might be blaring out. This is a gel. And people ask me, because people from understand this is mainly available in the USA. And so people who buy it from different countries, you're going to need your plug-in adapter from whatever your country is. I have a universal adapter. I travel a lot around the world. But a lot of people say, hey, I can't order the gel all the time. Some people do use an ultrasound gel, but the thing is it's studied with this gel. So I only recommend using this gel. It's actually really nice. And I don't know if you can see a difference from side to side. I only did it for whatever it was, a minute and a half. But it's really nice gel on the skin, and it's very inexpensive. So yes, you put the gel on here and then you work it in. You're going to love the feeling of the gel. And those, you guys can comment. How do I feel about mewing? I have a whole video on mewing, positives and negatives. Overall, here's what happens with mewing. For those that don't know, it's you put the tongue to the roof and you keep that face shape to get a stronger jawline. It works best from age below 15 to maybe 22, 23. Works less as our bone is settled in. On the face shape video I'm going to show you some celebrities to show the bone does have plasticity. It does change as we age, but not for the better, especially in females, because the estrogen changes, elongates, maxillary retraction, loss of jawline. The bone gets osteoporosis, estrogen loss. But it's not, it's most, the good kind of changes you want with mewing are going to occur at a younger age. But here's the number one problem with mewing is people drop out. The compliance is poor because you don't see enough instant results for the amount of time and effort you're putting in. Do I like it? Yep, I do actually like it. I love my Newa. Where does retinol fit in, before or after? It's great. Before you, Newa, here's a great routine. A great routine, one that I do, and one that is Korean inspired, is going to be exosome cream for a couple days. Great, we got that. That's going to be your priming. Before you do your Newa, you gua sha. So you can use vibration in red and near infrared, or sometimes vibration bothers about less than 3% of people. So you can use it in this mode. It's just red. So you gua sha. I've been working on this is my right side. You might see it left in there. So this side of my face will be lifted when I go to dinner tonight. But you do your gua sha, okay, with your red light. So you prime it with exosomes. You prime it with red light, near infrared. Near infrared goes deeper. The longer wavelength, the 830 is going to go deeper. So you're getting down to the bone level with this. And then you're going to do your gua sha. That's a great way to use your gua sha in a routine. Your retinol, and again, everyone's night's a little different. And you can use retinols in the morning. So if you're going to do this at night, you might use your retinol in the morning. If you get sensitive skin with retinols, you want to use the sunscreen during the day. Not everyone's getting sun during the day. Sun can degrade the retinol a little bit, but it doesn't mean you're going to get side effects from sun and retinol. There's no particular interaction. But if you're going to use your retinol at night after this, just wait a half hour, cleanse your face, put your retinol on. No problem. There's no interaction. I just would not put the retinol on and then do this device. If you're doing gua sha and retinol, do your gua sha first at night, then put your retinol as your last step. This is not going to harm your retinol if you gua sha on top of it. You might just get a little more sensitivity. That's it. Upper left. Okay, great. This might be an interesting question to answer. How come we can't just pinch the vertical neck skin? We conceptualize that, the vertical neck skin. Q&A time. Who took that question down? Let me put that up. Why? Okay. How come we can't just pinch the vertical neck skin like we do in upper left? Cut and stitch. Okay, I think that's a great question. Thank you at Christine Hawkins, 1382. 1382, those numbers tell us what that stands for. So why can't you just cut here and stitch? There's something called microcoring. Okay, Ellacor is physical, taking pieces of skin out. Covered that, actually had great information in Asia on that. We had great lectures and discussions of people using that, microcoring. There's also something called Ultra Clear, which uses a thulium laser 1940 wavelength. 2940 thulium. Don't quote me on that, but it's a thulium, 2940, to microcore with laser technology, not physically reducing it. And that just removes skin. Why can't you just cut here? I was lecturing in Monaco, and there was a doctor there, plastic surgeon up, gave a lecture, and he said, by the way, just had neck surgery. The wife said I look terrible. Big guy. And he said, I just had them cut me here. And this is why you can't just do that. I had them cut me here. You got to access the ligaments and the platysma muscle, cut it out, cut some of the fascia, tie it together to get a tightening here. That's why you can't do that for turkey neck. But he had them cut here. So why did he just have a cut on his neck? A, men have facial hair, so sometimes they don't care. B, the scar heals pretty well. But the only reason to do it is access. This guy had a big neck. But when you're trying to access it through the back of the hairline and coming over, it's more technical and you risk some nerve damage. But the other thing is, if a guy's bald, this was a man I'm talking about, most women have good hair, but if a guy's bald, you're going to see that scar anyway. There's no hair to hide it. So he's like, well, just come cut me in the middle. So you can come cut in the middle, but you got to bring the muscles and some of the fascia together to tighten that up. Or it's not just loose skin, it's laxity of the musculature and the beginning of the smaz underneath here. And you have to cut some out to tighten up the jawline, or the skin will just come back. So I hope that answers that question. Okay. Yeah, you're great for EMS. I'm excited for EMS to help penetrate. Yeah, it can do that because you're using electrical energy. Face exercises. This is a good question. What about face exercises from a Victorian Nicholas? Okay, great. I'm a fan of face exercises. I have videos on them. There are ones that aren't good to do. Like I don't have any toxin through here, but you can see I'm moving here. So if I'm moving my brow down and trying to lift up and doing that, I'm going to create a furrow here. So like I'm giving you an example of things you don't want to do, blatant exercises. And a lot of the influencers talking about exercises, I just cringe. But what you want to do if you want to work that muscle here to add volume, because women lose volume here, and if you toxin it too much, you have atrophy or shrinkage of the muscle. So you hold here and then you move the muscle. That strengthens the muscle without doing that. So there's certain techniques, but if you're doing good face exercises, I like them. If you see any, let's see, and we are at the Q&A point. So just one note on that deal on the Newa, just so you guys know. For this live stream here. Once again, I think it was like 35% off, and it was only this color. So you know, for those who joined late, we did the demo. You can come back and watch it. I also have playlists of the Newa, all kinds of combinations on the channel. If you go to the channel on YouTube and you look up playlists, you go to Newa, I don't know, there's probably 30 videos in there, how to, what not to do, combinations. Because it's not about having more devices than your neighbor that's going to make you look better than your neighbor. It's about knowing what or how to use what you have. It's key. And if you use red light and gua sha before that, that's a pretty good combination. Okay, here's a good one. Okay, this is good. Okay, you guys ready? This is because we're talking about the neck and jowl. So let's talk a little bit about CO2. I got a CO2 laser sitting right over here. I've done CO2 laser since 2007. Again, I'm not an influencer just telling you about things. A lot of the dermatologists you see are telling you about CO2 laser. They've never picked one up in their life. So this is what I do, and I've done and I can tell you I've owned Luminous, Active FX, I've the Double FX, multiple CO2 lasers, DECAs. So I can tell you about CO2. I'm about to get a CO2 laser in the face, neck, and hands, and I think I'm about to chicken out. So understand with the CO2 laser, the first CO2s I was doing in 2006-07 were very intense, almost like the Carol Burnett style, where they were not fractionated, but complete CO2 ablation of the complete face. Boy, we got tightening. But you were red for 2 months. You had post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. Acne was a huge one because the recovery, we gave everyone Aquaphor and Vaseline. You had to put it on 3 times a day. So next come to fractionated lasers, meaning you put little dots in all over the place so that there's areas of normal tissue to help heal. And when we did that, we had a lot less side effects. But remember, I can go from densities from 5% up to 40%. So it depends what kind of CO2 you get. Anna Cody 777. I like that. Okay, so it depends how aggressive they are. And you can ask them to be not that aggressive. If you're skin type 1 to 3, you're lighter skin type. That means you're more white. You can hammer your skin and get a tighter result. You're going to have more downtime. You might freak out, but you'll be fine if you see an expert. As you go to my skin type 4 and darker, you cannot do that with the CO2. You're going to have to get lighter treatments and multiple. But you can tune it up or you can tune it down. It's like a hammer. You can hit your finger with it or you can put a nail in and make good things. Bad things or good things, same tool. So but will CO2 get your jowl? You can get some tightening with CO2. CO2 is 10,600 nanometers. It's attracted to water. It's not deep in the fat layer. So you're going to get a little tightening, but it's not your number one treatment for jowls. Okay, let's get rid of that one. How do I incorporate the Newa with my LED mask skincare routine? Easy. You want to cleanse your face. Here's which mask do I have? This is the one I've been using, the new Halo. So this is the Halo LED, has the chin for the submentum, and it also has the hair because you guys told me that the hairline is important, and I added PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field, as well to this. So there's PMF, which is in our under eye dual glow. We saw amazing results and even a little volume increase under the eye with the dual glow. So I added it into this mask. Lights above the lip and under the eye as well. What you want to do is cleanse your skin, use your mask for 10 minutes. I'm using mode 3 on this, which is my red light and my PEMF. That's my favorite mode for me. And then you're going to use your Newa after, and you would have just then primed your skin because this does what? Amps up your mitochondrial, your energy, gets it ready, and you can pre-prime with an exosome cream should you want to. A little more mango electro glow. Comment in the comment section, what's your favorite electro glow flavor of the ones? And I know I'm out of raspberry, so I don't want you saying raspberry. Okay, let me move. Let me see. Here's a question here. Okay. Should I do RF, radio frequency, before a facelift, and why? So when you get a facelift's a big surgery and wound healing is important. So you want to follow what your surgeon says. In general, you have to have a great diet, not a lot of sun exposure before your surgery. You want to have better skin. So do whatever they tell you for the month before, whatever it is. But let's say a lot of times now it's a year till you get one, 6 months. Of course, the better your dermis, the thicker your skin, the healthier your face, the more you're using red lights. PEMF is often used by many plastic surgeons, which is in my mask, right after a facelift for wound healing. PEMF helps with blood flow. You need blood flow to heal your wounds. So the better your skin is, the better your facelift's going to be, because the facelift doesn't affect your skin. It doesn't thicken your dermis. And you might get a neck that looks like that after your facelift, but look at it at 6 months. It comes down a little and it gets lax, and you will start to get neck wrinkles by 2 to 3 years. I'm talking about an estrogen depleted 55, 60-year-old female. You're going to start to get neck wrinkles by 3 years after facelift if you do nothing. So absolutely. These are not one and done. I wish I could take all you guys to Korea to see how they think about it, because every month they're getting a treatment. Let's just see. Here's a question. I'm fighting to keep elasticity in my neck. I'm 55, face looks 40, neck looks 60. It's the most common thing. I can't even say your name there, but Tampa, looks like you're from Tampa. That's the last part. So if you dissect this out, 55, I'm just going to talk general. I don't know your history, but at 55, it's safe to say, even if you measure your estrogen and it says there's estrogen in your body, it's not enough, and the receptors are not doing what they need to be. And I can tell you're probably estrogen depleted. If you're saying, people say, well, I still get my periods. Doesn't matter. that doesn't mean you have enough estrogen for your skin, okay? Periods tell you some things about, of course, your hormones, your cycles and everything, but it doesn't mean there's enough for your skin. Face looks 40. I mean, how do you beat that? Neck looks 60. So the neck for many people, especially if they're thin people, white skin 1 to 3, a little lighter than me, they're going to say, the reason I need a facelift is because of my neck. That's the number one thing that's going to drive them for a facelift. So you have options. My next question would be, what's your hormone status and what are you willing to do? And are you maximizing your home treatments? So are you doing your derma roller with things like plasmasomes? Are you maximize your skincare? You know how to use retinols and AHA safely on your neck. You can't go for, in my opinion, you can't go for surgery, something that invasive, until you're using radio frequency energy. Or outside the US, if you're outside, the alternative is ultrasounds. I don't have or sell an ultrasound device for at home that's in this country that I think is good, but they have them overseas. So RF or ultrasound, why go for neck lift until those things? And then if you have a little bit of fat, we talked about Kybella today, but that's a great question. Okay, let me see if I can remove that. Okay. Okay, here's one interesting. Okay, so this is not uncommon. And in the webinar I did with the Beverly Hills facial plastic surgeon, we talked about botched treatments and what we've done over the years for botched patients. So watch that. But what do you use or do for people who messed up their jawline after Invisalign alignment? Comment in the comments if you've had trouble using Invisalign and if it changed the shape of your face or ruined your face, because I hear it a lot. Dentition, when you lose a tooth singularly, even that affects your face and your jawline. So the dentition is so important. It's why I came out with the lip and mouth device. Red light, near infrared, and I added like a 605 nanometer in there for lip redness because that's attractive for gum. And also added wavelengths to help prevent cold sores. And then we have teeth whitening, all because of the maxillary retrusion, the concertina effect of the face that you get with aging. Because in the video, I keep talking about the video that's coming next Sunday, 10 days or whatever from now, that's on face shape. You got to watch that video. And it's about 22 minutes long. And I know no one's going to watch it, maybe 10, 15,000 people. But it's a miss if you miss that video because of face shape. But yes, what do I do for those people? You have to examine the face. If I got, what does your face look like? Is it compact? Is it elongated? When you say messed up your face, I'm going to say probably you might have an asymmetry of your smile. We see that with Invisalign. You might have downturn to the mouth, maybe more on one side. You may be getting thumb printing from it. So a lack of volume and some loose skin in the chin. Those are all handled differently, but skincare, home devices, and at the end of the day, I'll tell you what ends up happening with most of the cases with Invisalign. You're going to have a biostimulator, PRF or Sculptra, or if you're so inclined, a filler or a radius type of product to stimulate and add some volume. Somewhere in that mix, you're going to need volume if you want it corrected. Could be fat, could be nano fat. So that's the answer to that. Here's one. Let's see. I didn't fully read it, but I thought that masseter Botox fixed the jowls. So many injectors advertise it fixed for marionette lines. Zero. If your injector saying that, let me make sure I read this correct because it's crazy. I thought that the masseter Botox, so Botox, only thing it doesn't make your skin better. It stops muscle movement. I mean, it does other things, stops sebum production, different things, but that's the main thing. Fix the jowls. No, it's the opposite of that. If your injector's telling you that, you need a new injector. And like I said, there's about 80% of them out there you're going to find just don't know what's going on to the extent that they should. And so, yeah, no, that's a clear pass on that because that isn't. Okay. How hot does your gua sha get? What a wonderful question. Let's put this one up. Okay. I lost my gua sha now. Here it is. So how hot does this get? This is really, really good. Okay, so there's 3 modes. You hold it in like an iPhone. Okay, you hear that? That's the vibration mode. Next mode is vibration in red light and near infrared. That's what I use. when I did the demo here today, I didn't add the vibration because I don't know how much of that you can hear, and I didn't want to add the audio of it. And then here, because it's red light, let me tell you something. 630 nanometers is coming out of here, predictably, with medical grade LED bulbs, right? Because you see red light at 630, you do not see above 700 or so nanometers, but there's 830 in here. So if I took the 630 away, you would see nothing with the naked eye, but there would be 830 coming out of here. What my point is, you don't see all wavelengths, but why you think it's hot is because it's the color red. There's zero heat given off by this. Zero heat given off by this device. It's not a heating device, and it shouldn't be. Gua sha is not meant to be a heating device. It's ligamentous release, and it ends up being lymphatic drainage, increased blood flow. When you add vibration with the corrugated, it's bone, and it's supercharging your mitochondria and priming your skin. So there's zero heat given off of that. Thank you. Here, a little nicety. Good information. We like positivity. Thank you. Does it make a difference starting with a booster before exobomb? Let me put this up so I understand it. Does it make a difference by starting with a booster before exobomb? I'm not sure what booster, but exobomb itself is a booster. So exobomb is your booster. This is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, let's look. I'm going to give you the positives and the negatives. The photography police always have the photography, and I love them. So I'm a photographer. There you go. The before pic on the Newa is digitally sharper, not as blurry as the after. You can see the darker shadows on the before, which emphasize the jawline. Okay, great. You're always going to have the before and after, please. Look, how many, do you know how many clinics I've been in my life and training? It's got to be up 1,000 plus. I use 3D imaging, so it's a game changer. The photographer here will have no problem with my 3D imaging because I can show vectors, I can show volume, I can show a tiny volume difference in the face, browns, reds, everything, because the 3D camera I'm used for skin cancer. So, and we can blow things up to a tiny brown spot. I can blow up to like huge and accurate. So I use 3D imaging, but just to say, it's nearly impossible. I don't care what photography room you have. Go look at all the plastic surgeons who charge $100,000, $200,000 for a facelift, and G Bandy 11. Go to their websites. Look at the before and afters of their $150,000 facelifts. They look way worse than the before and afters I showed you today. And people go, oh my God, the before and after looked amazing. And it's a 2-week before and after with swelling. I like your point, G Bandy, because before and afters are a waste of time because you're only ever going to see the best ones. It's almost impossible, even with a dark photography room with a singular light, triple lighting. I've seen it all from the face, edge of the face, up, down. You don't know if they've hydrated before. There's so many variables. It's about a consistent skincare routine over time. And here's the problem with before and afters. Let's say I show you my before and after and you go, oh my God, Rajani, you look 10 years younger. Could be older. I'm going to say younger for the positive side, but let's just go with that. You say, Rajani, you look 10 years younger. You don't know if I've been eating collagen broth soups that made me better. You don't know if it's the gua sha I just did. You don't know if it's the RF. You don't know if it's my retinol. So, and I'm skin type 4 and my genetics are different than yours. So let's say I got this amazing, all I did was this for a year and I look 10 years younger. What does that mean for you? Nothing. Because you have different genetics, you have different techniques, you have different problems. You might have rosacea. I don't have rosacea. You might be drinking booze. You see the confounding variables. So for me, before and afters are a waste of time. Everyone likes to see them. They give you, why I put them up, G Bandy, to give you an idea of the maximal result. So if you looked at that result and you're like, hey, that sucks, then you should not spend the $3,000 to $5,000 on that procedure. So I think before and afters are better for ruling of looking at that as the best case. And if that best case isn't enough, it's about setting expectations. But I like that. because I think that's important. I've never had, other than 3D imaging, which I can measure to the millimeter, and understand, I can put a vial of filler here and a vial of filler here and show a 3 millimeter projection. And someone go, that's not enough. 3 millimeters on the face I did with 1 vial per side, that's huge. A millimeter on the face is huge. So that before and after, they would say sucked. So it's very, very tough. What does RF do to scars or the Newa? Nothing. It can tighten the skin around them for sure, but it's not going to change the color. That's more of a laser. I love this question. Okay, now obviously I learned this and I talked to you about this from Asia, but a huge miss in American culture, North American, so Canada, Mexico. Mexico is kind of humid anyway, but Canada and a lot of America are occlusive sheet masks. Should you use a moisturizer after the facial sheet mask? No need. So I had a 12-hour flight the other day. I had actually a 3-hour flight, a 12 and a 3 connections. But the 12-hour flight, just as we took off, I put a facial sheet mask on. You're looking at the screen, it tells you. So we were at about 4,000 feet. We leveled off to about 31,000 feet. So for about 25 minutes, I put the facial sheet mask on, then I lied down, went to bed. I woke up, your face is dewy. And some people are going to say, it's sticky after facial sheet masks. You better embrace that. The Koreans love that. That's how it's made. But that's dewiness, okay? But I woke up 8 hours later, and I looked younger than when I got on that plane. It was hydration, nothing magical. But normally you're crinkled up and you're dry. You're up there with no oxygen. Who knows? The captain takes the oxygen down a little so we all sleep. So the air up there is not good. It's Korean sheet mask, facial sheet mask, however you want to do it. You want to make your own at home, you want to buy them, they're $3 a piece. It's a huge miss. People don't moisturize enough. And the occlusive part of it, to hold the niacinamide, the PDRN, the exosomes in, it's amazing. So no, and it depends what you buy, but all the product inside, the sheet mask, I'm very generous with it when we design them. So you can take that, put it on your abs, put it on your body, put it on your chest, your arms, your knees, and you can moisturize with that extra liquid if you want. Okay. Let's put another positive one up here. Vivian, good to see you here, girl. Excellent price, best place to buy it. Yeah, I agree. There's in the world, the biggest problem we have with the market and why the Koreans and the Japanese, a lot of the companies don't want to bring anything. And I'm just going to tell you guys this, not a good thing to tell you, but I'll tell you, is the fakes. They can't compete with the fakes on the market. And I'm not going to tell you about and I know you all use these marketplaces that are out there. I'm not going to call them out right now. I value my life here, but there's so many fakes that you cannot tell the difference this is a Korean product. This is made in Korea, Exco Bio, been to the factory. This is your exosome cream, best one in the world, according to me and what I've seen around. Okay. I can show you the fake and I get to see them at the factory. They have them all there. Some of the fillers, they can track them. They put a little tracker in there and they can see that it's not their filler or biostimulator. They can track the actual box. But with these products, I get to see the fakes. You can't tell the difference. And then they'll undercut them. So this is it's $150 product. I think it's on now for $100 or something. But talk about a $150 product, it'll be on $40 on the marketplace. They're fakes. And so the company can't bring them in and compete with the fakes. So when you buy something online, and it doesn't have to be mine, you buy it for wherever you like, but just don't go to those marketplaces and think that you're getting real. It's like getting a cheap filler. You end up, if you're paying less than $500 for your filler, there's a very high chance you're getting fake filler, and you can't tell the difference because they're backfilling original syringes with the holograms and everything on the Botox vials or the syringes. They're backfilling it with fake product. So you can look at the outer part and you can't tell. It's how complex this stuff is. So yes, be careful where you buy. Thanks, Vivian. It's a great comment. I like that. Okay. So here's a great question. Vivian, you have good questions. Of course you do. You're so educated on all this stuff. Thank you. Could we use the Newa under the eyes? Absolutely. And I think there's a live where I did it. And you can use it under the eyes. And I do. When we inject, and in the upcoming webinar with the facial plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills, we talk about the under eye approach. And many of us done this for years, but when we inject, we come through the inferior approach to the deep medial fat pad and come up underneath the orbicularis oculi. That's a better approach than here. Why am I telling you that with skin tightening here? Because come down below. If you make the deep medial fat pad better, okay, right here, you're going to have a better under eye without going right under the eye. But yes, you grab it and you look up and you can close the eye and you can work underneath the eye. Now, the company can't tell you that because they didn't study it. It's not approved. They didn't get FDA clearance for the under eye. I have a slide with the zones of which this is approved for. Maybe we can pop that up. It might be in the intersection. We'll see. But the company won't tell you that you can use it under the eye. Why can I tell you? Because it's clinical practice. That's where we use it under the eye. But it's approved for the submentum, for the cheek area here. But it's not approved for men even. Do you think men can use it? Well, I use it, but just because it's not approved and the company on the company's site can't tell you, Vivian, that's why you might buy on my site, because you go to my playlist. I show it in men. I show the under eye. I show the neck. I show how to get around the thyroid issue. So that's what I put in time and effort into making this work. Okay. Let's see if we have any. You guys ask any questions before we wrap this one up. But you love watermelon. Yeah, I like the watermelon too. That's why I added watermelon to the line. But I like mango too. Okay, so we talked about the under eye. Okay, here's a good one. Does the Exobalm, so does this product replace using your Ultra Moisture? You're going to probably pulse this cream. Ultra Moisture is something that you might have for 6, 7, 8 months, and you're going to moisturize before you go out. I can tell you my own experience, and of course, I've used the Ultra Moisture now for 10 years. I developed the Ultra Moisture cream from the Oregon coast, girls in the Oregon coast. I always thought they'd be moist, their skin, they wouldn't need a moisturizer, but because of the constant wind and being at the beach, they'll tell you, the women at the beach of the Oregon, Northern California coast, their skin is extremely dry. The Ultra Moisture is an ultra moisturizing cream with a bunch of natural oils. This doesn't moisturize as much. So I'll put this on, I'll wait about a half hour. If I'm going out or to dinner or an event, the more moisture you have, the better you look. All those fine lines go. I'll put Ultra Moisture on top of it. If you tend to have oilier skin, or you're not in a dry environment, this would be fine for your moisture, in my estimation. Sometimes, and also you probably wouldn't need the Ultra Moisture if you're using Korean sheet masks. So you could put this on, wait a half hour, put your Exosome mask on. That's going to be very moisturizing. Okay. I'm not sure how to incorporate. Okay, let's do with this one up. Okay. I'm not sure how to incorporate Exobalm in my skin routine. And the Exobalm is on sale right now. So if you go to store.rajaniMD.com, we still have some of these left on sale. There it is there, okay? And you get sheet masks with them, $99. So it's a $160 product. Okay, there's many ways to incorporate this into your skincare routine. I like to put it's not an inexpensive cream. And you're mixing it up. Let me go through something with you. This is unlike a formula that you're going to find out there. And people are going to be like, look at what's on the market, and you have to look at what is on my website for how you use it, how long it lasts. This product expires 2 years from now, so it lasts a long time. You can stock up on this. Once you mix the exosomes in here, you have 3 to 4 months to use this formulation, and we've proven the stability of the exosomes up to 4 months. I do put it in the refrigerator after. How do you incorporate it? So because it has active exosomes, what you want to do is you want to use it on cleansed skin. I like to wait about a half an hour, and then you can layer on top if you want to. You asked before about the moisturizing. If you want to add moisture, it's nice to wait a half hour. Is that scientifically proven that you need to wait? No. wait at least 15 minutes to layer anything. Why would you risk it? It's not the least expensive cream, and it's an active ingredient. How many times a week? So 2 to 3 times a week is fine. If I'm getting a procedure, I'm going to use this for a week or two before, like Ulthera, like RF microneedling, like Thermage, because you're getting a $5,000 procedure. I'm going to prime with this. And then I'm going to use it 2 weeks after my procedure. Let's say you're using Plasmazome's roller. Okay, you can prime for this for a day or two before. So this might be the only thing you use. You cleanse and use your exosome cream, then you do your Plasmazome's roller, then you use this the next day, and then go back to your routine with your retinols and alpha hydroxy. There's so many combinations, but that's how I would incorporate this. At least use it a few times a week on cleansed skin and let it sit there for 15 to 30 minutes. It's worth it. I showed you videos last week of the active exosomes shown with a special scanner that's made with these it's not rose exosomes, it's rose stem cell exosomes. Stem cells are precursor cells that have not differentiated into anything yet. So they have much more potential to differentiate than just cells. They're rose stem cell exosomes. So that's a good question. Okay, do you pump up your skin before microneedling the face, the neck and face? Pump up your skin. Tell me, Penny, what that meant. Pump it up before microneedling. But before microneedling, for sure, you can prime it. This is an interesting one that might help some people. We're away from jowls, but estrogen is still advisable at old age. I had hysterectomy at age 45. We're in deep medical here, you guys, and use HRT till the big scare came, 2003. I can't quite read your name, Miracone. So you use it until 2003. That was the scare by the FDA. They took it away and they brought Viagra in. But I am now much more older than 40. Would I still have some benefit? That's a deep question. But the FDA, how they're going to change it when they come out with it is going to be within 10 years. There's very scant data of restarting it later. But there's a lot of factors that go into there. And you might wonder about estrogen cream for the face too, as well, because that can help. Heather, whatever. I like that. Heather, whatever. I do like that. I don't want to miss anything you teach. I'll listen to this one again. I can tell you, when I listen to myself over, which I hate hearing myself, but sometimes I'll have to watch it over if I'm editing something to put it back up for you guys. I learn, again, the second time around when I hear myself. Oh, yeah. So, yes, listen to it a few times. Okay. Home days. Okay, I like this one. Hi, Doc. You are great. That's not why I like it, but I do like that. Thank you. How long after using an at-home device do we see results? I think this is such a great question because you can ask this for just about anything. Gua sha is immediate, and then there's long-term benefits. But I think we're talking about Newa today. So you get what we call the Cinderella effect, and I play off that. So I will, if I need to look good for something, and I guess luckily I don't need to look good for you guys because you guys, we have a long-term relationship here for 15 years at least, right? But if you're going out for a dinner, maybe you got a date, whatever you got, this is the Cinderella effect, and you'll get an immediate tightening. And I talk about it in the newer videos on the playlist. Look up Rajani Cinderella effect. The video will come up. But and you can see it, you can study that. But right after you use it, you can do it one brow. You'll get a brow lift. Why? Because you get contraction of the tissue, increased blood flow, and increased volumization from more blood flow. You get that immediate blood flow, and you'll get a lifting of one side. A trick of the Ulthera reps back in 2013, 14, 15, they would do one side of their forehead with Ulthera and not the other. And they'd walk around with a brow lift for a week, and they'd walk in and sell it to practices. Look what Ulthera does. So that was a trick of the book. And so you can do this and you get a lifting of the face for a few hours after using it. Now, we want long-term results. I showed you before and afters, or critique before and afters, but those were at 4 weeks and 8 weeks. So you get immediate effect, and then it builds up over weeks and weeks and weeks. So I'd say by 3 to 4 weeks, you start to get sustainable results. These are parts of skincare routines. Here's a before and after. We'll have to get our photographer. You can critique these too. I think that's good. Be interesting. I mean, you have a lot of education there with photography. I know a little bit about it from trying to use these cameras, but basic skills. So you can see here, the point is that you get tightening of the submentum. And this is 8 weeks. Let me remove the question so I can. So this is 8 weeks. That gives you an idea. And like I just said, I said it's like 4 to 8 weeks is when you're going to get sustainable results, not just the Cinderella effect. But remember, with all this stuff, it's long term. Are you ever going to stop using this? No. Are you ever going to stop gua shaing? Unless you know how to reverse age you back when you're 20. And the 20-year-olds are gua shaing more than the 60-year-olds. The young generation are doing a ton of work. And here, I think this here one was 4 weeks. But I think despite the shadows and everything, you get an idea of the platysma band and the downturn of the mouth. But you don't expect a facelift. Like I said, I like to look at what you should not expect as much from before and afters as anything else. I don't know what this is going to say, but we'll read it. Thank you, doctor. Appreciate you. You're welcome. You're the only doctor I trust in this field. I appreciate that. Your concern and care to everyone's heartwarming. Just a nice positive message. Thank you. Bindi Boxer. I appreciate that. Good. I'm glad I brought that one up. You never know what you're going to bring up here. Here's a good one. I saw microneedling, so I figured it was good. If doing home microneedling, and you should, I advise it. I have a free course on microneedling, store.rajanimd.com under education. Don't buy a thing, but take the course because I go through cleansing, what to cleanse with. Cleansing's really important before microneedling. Go to free courses on my website. Again, don't buy anything, just take the course. How long should I wait to do Newa? So you can do it same day. I would do the Newa first. Wait about 5-10 minutes, your face cools down, cleanse it, and then do your rolling. When I'm in Korea, I just told you, watch this again. They're doing RF microneedling, Ultherapy, microblading, but RF microneedling, all on the same day in the same face. 2-3 hour treatment, boom, you're out the door. And I interviewed a couple of docs from the clinic, Dr. Lee and Dr. Min, recently of the past 3 weeks. That's what they do in their clinic. So you can do a lot of these things at once when you get good, and you got to be meticulous with your cleaning of the skin. So when I say when you get good, when you've done a couple, don't go do 3 steps the first night. Do one, then do one and add plasmasomes, then do one and add gua sha. So work up with your education level. Okay. This isn't he amazing human? All these years of study and training practice sits here and gives his wise. Yeah, and part of the reason I appreciate that kindness. And I try and do it when I'm going to sit and I'm going on a big webinar, going to teach the baby glow to a bunch of docs. And so I figured I had to be dressed up and cleaned up a little bit. And so I take a couple hours and banter with you guys. And yes, I'm just glad that you appreciate it. Okay. Look at this. Mine doesn't get hot. I got to put this up. Okay, so this is Lola B. Almost 100% certainty I can tell you it's not the device, it's you. And I don't say that to be negative or mean, but because we get them back, send them to the company and we test them. They got boxes of stuff that was sent back. When they test them, less than 0.05% are ever broken. And so follow the steps. And there are a couple of steps, and it is that way. But this was off for a while. So you turn the button on the side, okay? So, and then you got to click it again. It's got to be flashing. And where people miss it is put the gel on. I'm not putting gel on right now. And you want a circular and small. And don't take the electrodes off. Don't have it on an angle. Take some dexterity. Obviously, the odd one could be broken. So, but if you're a betting Vegas person, I'm betting that yours works and it will get hot. It's just technique and keeping it square to the face. So square to the face like that. It can't be on an angle because all electrodes have to touch the skin. It won't fire. It's built-in safety mechanism. So I think that's a great question. Keep trying. It's a chance. You might be in the 0.05%. It's possible. But a lot of times it's dexterity. Okay. This is important for all of you females. I should share with you, I just had my own DEXA scan done. I think for men, it's less important. Mine was quite high, but not unusual for a male because we're running testosterone. We don't get the estrogen plunge. But for females, it's real important. Please repeat what helps the bone on gua sha. I have osteonecrosis. You don't have osteonecrosis, you have osteoporosis. Necrosis means death. You might get that of a osteonecrosis of a malunion of a fracture or of a hip when we get vascular compromise, but you have osteoporosis of jawbone and need help with the bone. Thanks for sharing. Tiny Blue PB Beal, I think. Okay. So important for women, and it's devastating. And I have patients that are 64, 65, and they're on IV medications to get their bone back. And it's a devastating thing. So by 40, I'd be getting DEXA scans. I'd be watching your vitamin D, your K2, D3. I'd be doing impact exercise. I'd be getting on creatine. And I would consider hormone replacement therapy, not letting the estrogen go down. That's the ticket. You're already there. Look up. I'm going to do a whole webinar on vibration and bone growth. It's part of the reason you want to stimulate your osteoclasts. Osteoblasts, break them down. Osteoclasts build your bone. So I added vibration. You can probably hear that in a corrugated edge so that you get, excuse me, vibration on the bone. And I curved it so that it perfectly conforms to the bone with vibration over the bone. And there's good evidence that vibration on the bone stimulates it. Now imagine if you had red near infrared light, because that supercharges all your cells of the mitochondria. Also the osteoclasts, CLASTS, they produce your bone. That's what a lot of the drugs do. They make your osteoclasts rev up, osteoblasts break them down. So I don't want to, because if you were losing jawbone, did you have a DEXA scan? You should. If you're osteoporotic in your body, hit it hard. Don't let that go. And here's why. There's a 50% death rate after you break a hip after the age of about 65, 70. 50% within a year. And your spine. When you can't walk and you can't be upright because you have your estrogen plummeted and you have osteoporosis, if you're a white female with a family history of osteoporosis, bad. And that hits your face too. So we talked earlier about vibration plates. That's a big topic. I have videos on it. I'm not the osteoporosis expert in the world, but I see a lot of women. So I'm attuned to what's going on out there. Let's take a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up. So make sure, let's go right. You guys are good. You got a lot of questions. Yes, you had a DEXA scan. So Blue, I don't want you to give away your medical history here, but I'm glad you had your DEXA scan and you want to use that as a guide. I have Tiny Blue. She's got a vibration plate. You're good. You've studied this stuff. Great. Here's a nice one. I just can't get rid of this darn deep wrinkle between my eyes. Okay. Yeah. So, and I don't know if you've had Botox or toxin, but obviously that's the quick fix because then you can't do that. I haven't had Botox or toxin here maybe a year, but I'll do it once a year, once every 18 months. But if you take your gua sha and you play upon these are your corrugators supercilii and your medial corrugator, and your middle muscle is called your procerus. And if you take your gua sha and take the edge of it, put it on vibration and wind or vibration in red light, and then you grab it and just gua sha and relax that. I'll tell you another cheap thing, inexpensive, we don't like the word cheap, that works, is face tape. So face tape, as long as you're not allergic, get a face tape, hold it here, hold that separate. Separate here, because a lot of times if you sleep on your side or you have a little stress, your cortisol's up at night, and you furrow, and that will make this muscle strong. If you're open to having Botox or something like that, Dysport, Latibo is a nice Korean one. Do it one time will train you not to frown, and maybe you do it once every year, 2 or 3, but you don't want to get atrophy of your procerus muscle. That's a bad look, especially on lighter white skin, because you lose volume. The brow goes medial here, and you might have an arched here from your treatments, and that looks old. I'll use the word old. We don't like the word old, but yeah, try face tape. And said, I hope this will be available for replay. Yes, I think we covered it all today. I want to thank you guys. We're going to do more lives. We have a big one coming on the weekend, right?
Sunday.
I have a big, I want to call, I don't know what it's going to be, but I want to call it the Christmas Live. And I think we're going to have we'll do a Christmas Live. We're going to have a ton of specials too. Obviously, we're not going to do this. I don't know how many of these, this one will not be discounted less than what it is now. And I will do this until we have hundreds of these, but you guys, we go through a lot. But until this is limited time, it's $285. So it was $439. So it might be for the next hour or two, might be for a couple of days. I don't know. But yeah, if you wanted a Newa, this is a good chance to get it. And Sunday, I think we'll do 9 or 10 a.m. I'll let you guys know. But we're going to do like a little Christmas special, a little live. I'll take you through some fun stuff. Maybe I'll put a Santa hat. If you comment enough, I'll put a Santa hat on. You guys put me to it. But thank you so much for today. I appreciate everyone coming. Make it a great one. I'm going now on to a tutorial for a bunch of doctors. We're doing the baby face. If you're a provider, pop onto my social media and there's a link and you can sign up and you can join me. We're going to do a webinar on the baby face and how to achieve it for medical professionals only. Have an amazing day. Thank you, guys.